I purchased this buffet and I want to turn it into a vanity. So first thing I did is I took the doors off, took the drawers out, and on the drawers there was some of the veneer was coming off. So last night I glued it down and put some pressure on it, and then this morning I came out and realized there was some on this side also. So I just got that glued down and I let that dry. So I'll fill those in, even though you won't see them. So I took this back piece off. There was some screws holding it on, and that popped right off. Then the top I took off. There wasn't much holding it on. There was a few nails in the back, and then there was holes in the top where there were screws. So I unscrewed those, and the top come right off. And I'm not going to be reusing the top. I'm going to do a concrete top. And then I see that some of these joints were getting a little weak, so I put some wood glue in there, and I had that clamped to try to sturdy it up some, because that concrete top's going to be quite heavy. Then I started on the doors here. I mixed up some bondo. This had a big chunk missing out of it, and looks pretty good right now. I think I may put just a little bit more on there just to kind of smooth it out a little bit. And there was a chunk missing here and here, just little tiny bits. So I bought this stuff here at Home Depot, and it comes in two parts. Where's the other part? This stuff here, once you mix these two together, it creates the bondo part. You need to do this stuff outside because this stuff smells pretty bad, and you got to work in little batches, because this was my first batch right here, and as you can see, most of it hardened before I could even use it. I mean, it was literally like a minute, and it was hard. So I learned my lesson, and I did smaller batches, and this was like my second, my third, and my fourth. So yeah, it's going to be time consuming, but it's going to look really good when it's done. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to go through and touch up some of these areas here with the bondo, and then I'm going to work on this drawer because that seems to be pretty bad. I'm just going to fill in with the bondo to get it, the same smoothness, and sand it all down. And I've got a really fine sandpaper that I'm using to sand these edges down. So that's where we're at. I wanted to show how I mix up the bondo here. So what I do is I take the cream hardener. You're supposed to kind of knead this with the tube closed when you first get it, and then I put a little dab on my paper plate here. And for what I'm doing, that's all I'm going to need right now. I've got some plastic spoons and knives here to use. And then I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to get in here to this bondo. Get a fairly good size amount here. It's got fiberglass in it, so it's kind of got, like, you can kind of see little hairs around it. This is going to be hard one-handed here. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to take my plastic knife and scrape it down because it's very sticky. Careful not to get it touch the brown. Okay. Then I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to mix it, and it's going to change color here very quickly. Sorry. This is not easy to do one-handed. There, it's mixed, and you can see it's kind of a funky grayish brown color. Then I take my knife and I put it where I want it. I gotta work really quickly here. Just kind of smooth it out. Then I go in with a scraper and I scrape it flush. Okay, it's been probably 5 minutes and it's already dry to the touch. So I'm going to take my sandpaper. The more you scrape off when it's wet, the easier it'll be to sand it. And I'm just going to sand her flush. And I might have to put another coat of bondo on it, but then I just run my hand along it and feel where it needs to be smoothed out, and that's where I'm going to concentrate my bondo for next time. That batch I made earlier was a little too green, so this time I put a little more of the hardener in it, and this is more of the color that you're looking for, this brown. So I ended up going a different route on my buffet cabinet. I bought a piece of laminate countertop right here. It's a perfect length, but the width is a little longer than what my buffet is. So what I'm doing is I'm building new sides that are the right length. And I took apart the one side, and I'm going to take apart the back and the front and just gut the middle and make it longer, which will work out anyways. So I went to Home Depot for the sides and I bought some fur stripping. These are the wide fur stripping and these are the smaller fur stripping. And I cut them the right length that I need to open this up. And then before I put these on, I went with my jig, my pocket hole jig, and I did some pocket holes. So these will go into the sides of the cabinet. And I didn't have long enough nails to go into each board, so I put some screws in. And I got one side done. So it's gonna, I've got some cracks because this stuff is not the greatest, but I'm going to use the wood filler that I used on the doors and the drawers because it's going to get painted anyways, and then I'll sand it all down and it's going to go in between something like this. So I'm going to get this other side going and then we'll go from there. Okay everybody, I've got my buffet painted. My drawers my cabinet doors are drying right now. The drawers are done. I painted this and it's called Behr's Antique Tin. And then I went through and put the dark brown wax, Waverly, this stuff here, this Waverly wax on the edges. There's the doors. This is the handles I'm going to use. I filled in the holes where the handles originally were, and I wanted them like this, so I bought these at Hobby Lobby, and those are going to be for the doors. And these here I got for the pulls for the drawers at Hobby Lobby also. I just think it's going to look so good. I filled in the holes, and you can see a little bit, if you knew that they were there, you can see a little bit that the handles were over there, but I wanted a nice big one in the middle, maybe put a towel on it or something. So because I got the extra space in the back, I had to rebuild rails to put my drawers on, and they like to shift a little bit. So I cut these little spacers, and I'm going to figure out where they need to go and put them up tight up against the drawer so the drawer can't go out anymore. And this will actually work out pretty good because then I can put all my piping right in here without sacrificing any drawer space. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Oh, let me show you what the sides look like. This is the side that we took off and we put the first stripping on. It didn't turn out too bad for $4 for an 8-foot board. And I went through, I bought 4 boards, and I think I have another board left. But I also used them, you know, to brace up my drawers, and the thinner ones I used for the drawers also. And I put some here to help hold the drawers in place, because drawers they can move around pretty good. So I'm pretty excited to get this done. I need to order my sinks yet. I'm going to do vessel sinks top mount. I'm going to get square ones so that hopefully they fit right in this area here. They're going to be smaller than what I have now, but if I used the sinks that I have now, I'm going to have to cut big spaces in here, and it's going to take up at least 12 inches of this space here, and I don't want to lose any more space. At the very bottom, I plan on putting a shelf right in here. I'm going to take and make a shelf for that so that I can have some more storage underneath also. But it's looking pretty good. So I'm getting ready to put my handle on. And to figure out where the placement is, I measured the length of my drawer and divided that by 2, and that would give me my center point as far as length goes. Then I took my width and divided that by 2, and then I found my center point for that. And I also did the same for my handle. I took the width and I took the width and I divide that in half, and then I added that to the top. So my handle is actually going to be 1 and almost 2 inches. It was like 0.87 or something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I've got my drill bit, and I'm going to go with a little bit smaller drill bit than the hole, so I have some leeway in case I mess it up. This is a pretty good size plate, so if I happen to do mess it up, I got a little leeway there. And I have this handy little level here that I can put right on the handle, and that will tell me where my level mark is. This is pretty neat because this has a magnet on it also. This is really handy. I don't know where the heck it came from, but I'm so glad I have it. So I'm going to install my handles, and then we'll see how they look. Okay, everybody, step 530. My sinks came today. Been really excited about getting them in. I've had the faucets for quite a while. So my husband helped me install the sinks. Took a hole saw and cut my holes for my drain and hole for my water lines. We have to cut our old lines and make new ones, and we're going to have to feign dangle the pipe for the drain to miss it. This is my stopping point, so anything behind that is good. So we're going to have to do something different for that. But we got the sinks in anyways. Put a little bit of caulk just in the corners to help kind of hold it. They're pretty sturdy, but so far I'm really liking how it's coming together. Next up, I'm going to put this trim on my side here. I bought some super glue, two-step super glue to put this on. So we'll get that on and go from there. Here's the completed project of my buffet turned into a vanity. I didn't tell you before, but I had to cut 5 inches off my legs. If I didn't, I would have had to move this outlet, which is not in a good spot. See, it's right up to it. And I would have had to take the mirror off, and I don't want to mess with that quite yet. Eventually, I'm going to replace these mirrors, but right now, this works pretty good. These faucets and sinks I got on eBay. Oh, I just love them. They're just so pretty. It's just such a simple design, and I just think everything came together so well. I built a shelf inside, which is, I had to work around the pipes, if you can see in the back here. So I didn't lose a whole lot of storage, but I did lose some. And ordered them, and I haven't got them yet, but I bought some drawer slides to put on my drawers because they're sticking pretty good with the wood. They don't slide as good as I would have liked. But yeah, I put wallpaper lining in the drawers. I painted them, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it turned out pretty decent. I got this wire basket at a antique store and put my toilet paper rolls in there. I was going to make shelves for the bottom, but I've decided, since I had to cut 5 inches off the legs, I'm just going to leave it like this. Maybe eventually I might make a little bit of shelf here, or maybe on this side. But if I put a shelf on this side, I won't be able to keep my toilet paper there, and I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave that like that. Thanks for watching.